Everything is electricity. First was a light, an endless source from which comes the material and is distributed to all forms that represent the universe and the earth with all its aspects of life. The black is the true face of light, only we do not see it. It is of notable grace to man and other creatures. Each of its particles has light.
Everything is electricity. First was a light, an endless source from which comes the material, and is distributed to all forms that represent the universe and the earth with all its aspects of life. The black is the true face of light, only we do not see it. It is of notable grace to man and other creatures. Each of its particles has light. Everything you've been told about God was never meant to set you free. It was meant to keep you in line for centuries. Humanity has been handed a carefully edited image of the divine, distant, judgmental, wrapped in robes and sitting high above in some unreachable heaven. But what if that's the greatest distortion ever sold? What if the soul of God isn't a being at all, but a frequency, a living, vibrating essence woven into the fabric of everything that exists? This isn't blasphemy. It's science, it's energy, and Nikola Tesla knew it. He tried to tell the world that the key to unlocking the universe, your mind, your body, your spirit, was hidden in vibration, but his truth was silenced, rewritten, buried, because a divine frequency can't be owned, taxed, or worshiped. It can only be experienced. And when you experience it, you wake up. So the question is, what if the God you've been told to seek has been vibrating inside you all along? For thousands of years, you've been taught that God is out there somewhere far above you, watching from a distance, separate from your daily existence. You've been told that to reach the divine, you need a middleman, a priest, a book, a building, a set of rules. And from the moment you could speak, that idea was reinforced through repetition, ritual, and fear. The message was always the same: you're small, flawed, unworthy, and God is something to fear, not something to become. But that version of the divine wasn't created to set you free. It was designed to control you. Ancient wisdom told a different story, one that was buried, demonized, and ridiculed. The Egyptians, the Vicks, the Mayans, they all understood the divine not as a person in the sky, but as a living frequency that permeated everything. Their temples weren't just places of worship. They were vibrational chambers carefully built to resonate with specific cosmic tones. Chants, symbols, and sound frequencies weren't ceremonial for tradition's sake. They were precise tools for aligning human consciousness with the divine blueprint of the universe. These weren't myths. They were sciences, frequency sciences that modern institutions call superstition because they threaten the very structures that keep you obedient. When Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of a universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He wasn't speaking in metaphors. He was revealing the foundation of existence, the same truth the ancients lived by. But that truth is dangerous in a world built on hierarchy and control. If you knew you were a transmitter and receiver of divine frequency, you wouldn't need to kneel, you'd stand. You wouldn't beg, you'd listen. And you wouldn't fear God, you'd feel God within every atom of your being. Organized religion, while not inherently evil, has been manipulated to serve systems of power. It teaches dependence, guilt, and shame. It rewards obedience and punishes questioning. And above all, it paints the divine as external, unreachable. Without permission, this keeps billions disconnected from their innate ability to feel divinity as a vibration, not a doctrine. It's no accident that the most spiritually connected cultures were the ones colonized, conquered, and converted their temples, destroyed their chants, silenced their knowledge, buried. Why? Because a population that knows its own power cannot be ruled. Some knowledge is too raw, too unfiltered to survive on platforms like this. That's why we created Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we share what can't be spoken publicly. Sign up at the link in the description, and for a limited time, you'll receive a digital copy of the Kalian, a text that holds the foundations of Hermetic truth. This manipulation of spiritual perception wasn't just about faith, it was about frequency. You've been conditioned to resonate at a lower vibration, one of fear, lack, and self-rejection. Because higher frequencies awaken you, they reconnect you, they break the spell. When you operate at a divine frequency, you become unpredictable. You stop playing by the rules of those who profit from your pain. You stop seeing yourself as separate from God, and start remembering that you are an expression of it. This is the lie that severed you from source, that God is something you must earn, find, or be granted access to the truth you are already connected you always were. But like a radio out of tune, your frequency was hijacked, and the moment you start retuning, the old illusions begin to fall apart. That's when real faith begins, not in something above, but in the resonance within. You were never meant to live in fear. You weren't born to wake up tired, feel disconnected, and question your worth every day, but somehow that's become the norm from the moment you open your eyes in this world. The programming began. You were immersed in environments, systems, and messages designed to tune your frequency, not to harmony, not to divinity, but to distortion. And like background noise, it's been playing ever since you didn't choose the vibration you've been living in. It was chosen for you. Look around. Most people live in survival mode, anxious, sick, depressed, numb. They scroll, endlessly consume, mindlessly, and move through life like static fill radios, unable to hear their own signal. But that's not because they're broken. It's because they've been tuned into a frequency that keeps them disconnected from their natural resonance. The body knows, the soul knows, but the noise is so loud they forget how to listen. What's even worse is that it's been normalized. The collective operates in a low vibration hum, and we call it modern life. It starts early. The school bell rings not to educate, but to condition. Children are taught to suppress intuition and obey authority. Their days are carved into rigid blocks, their creativity boxed in by standardized testing. The vibrant, curious energy they enter with is dulled by repetition, comparison, and performance metrics. Every reward and punishment teaches the same thing: conform or be cast out. By the time you leave the system, you've been trained to associate order with anxiety, success with burnout, and rest with guilt. The frequency of your own rhythm forgotten, but it doesn't stop there. Turn on the television and count the fear. Every headline, every siren, every dramatic soundbite is another jolt